Yeah, it's pretty good. I was very close to playing on Saturday, so I'm pretty confident coming up this week. We'll have to obviously get through training, but very confident.
What's the plan for training? You train every session or wait till later in the week?
I'm not sure. What's the plan?
So there you go.
Yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm not sure. We'll probably assess it tomorrow. Definitely train Thursday. Tomorrow, I'm unsure what the plan is though. Well, that's probably the same thing, isn't it? They, the fear of doing a bit more damage if it had occurred. So yeah, we took the conservative approach. Fortunately, the guys were able to get the job done, and hopefully that keeps me in good stead for Saturday.
Leon, you've obviously got Toby, Stevie J, Zach, pretty close to playing last week. What are their chances this week?
That's obviously it's strengthened. Another week goes on. As I said about Toby, we thought he would have played last week, but that ankle injury has really lingered. So he needs to get through training on Wednesday, which is our main session. Are we confident of that happening? I think we are, but again, I was confident he was going to play last week and it didn't happen. Steve's interesting because he's that knee injury's all been there for most of the year. But again, if he doesn't train on Wednesday, then he's not going to play. So he needs to get through that. And Zach looks like he's recovered pretty well. We expect him to train Wednesday. So, what we've done through most of the year, if they're not right, then they don't play. But hopefully you'd think two at least out of those three would come back.
What's the feeling after another draw?
Yeah, it's a statistic I really wanted on my coaching resume. Look, it's just unique. I mean, how do you pick it? How do you pick the competition at the moment? It's just it's every game goes down to the wire just about. To have two draws in a row is we were lucky last week against the Cats here. They should have won. On the weekend, you could 13 points up with 6 minutes to go and don't close it out. It's disappointing, but Hawthorn were probably the better side for over the game. So, but we found a way in the last quarter. So it is unique. Join them together, we get 4 points over the last 2 weeks, so it's better than getting none. But we know we need to play some better footy, especially against the Swans this weekend. Oh, look, every side's had them, and we're no different to the Swans at the early part of the year. They had a horrendous run, and Melbourne have got some injuries at the moment. Everyone deals with them differently. We feel as though we've dealt with them pretty well. We've won 11 games thus far, so our depth has been tested. In saying that, if we pick out, a couple of those boys come back this week, we'll only be 2 or 3 off full strength. So there's no excuses, but we need to, play a better brand for longer. And clearly, we're doing it in patches, or we wouldn't have won 11 games. But if you don't do it for longer periods, then we'll get beaten.
No, I think we've been doing a lot of things well, but as Leon said, our consistency hasn't quite been there. There's probably reasons why we've been in such close games, is that we've been let teams get on top of us for too long. So we understand that. We're very confident that we'll be able to address that and push forward and get our best footy going.
John, does it make any psychological difference now that you actually have sneaked into the final? Chasing that?
No, not really. No, it doesn't. I mean, we know we need to keep playing well now. Every week's a really big game for us. Obviously, the slow start means that we don't have much room for error, so we've got to keep going. It's we've been in pretty solid form over the last couple of months, but we need to keep it up. And we play a team this week that's second on the ladder, won 11 games. It's not going to be easy. It's a massive game, and we look forward to that challenge.
How have you skilled the players for this period that you're going through at the moment, where every week is basically on the final?
Well, I mean, it's mainly the players stealing themselves, and the players and coaches, the staff and the players work really closely together, as I'm sure they do all the clubs, and it's been really strong, the consistency we've had, but we need to keep that up, and it's whether it's Josh or the leadership group, they've been able to set a standard now that's that we need to make sure we keep going with, and that's not an easy thing to do. And on the weekend we were a bit slow in the first quarter. We got going after that, but we need to make sure that we don't open those doors, particularly against a quality team like the Giants, because they can score so heavily.
Do you think the Giants have another level to go to this season?
Well, it sounds, if that's the case, it's a bit frightening, because they're sitting 11th with 11 wins and second on the ladder now. So they've got an incredible depth in their team, which has been demonstrated by how they've handled their injuries this year. And as Leon said before, they're only a couple off their best team this week if they get a couple back. So they're a very strong team.
Leon, does anything surprise you about where the Swans are now compared to 8 weeks ago?
Oh, not really. I think everyone was, if they were honest in their appraisal, and John would have led that at the Swans, that their start of the year was surprising to everyone, and they didn't shy away from it. And they got down to work, and the last 2 months is, typical. That's what they do. They get to work. They work every week. They play every quarter like it's their last, and they play a good brand of footy, and that's what they're doing the last couple of months. And there's no reason to think that they can not continue on with that. This season is so unique, as I said before, and any team beats anyone if you're off a little bit. I'm pretty sure that both teams are not going to be off this weekend. There's a rivalry there for a reason, and we've had some really big clashes now, and we've got to find our best more consistently, and no doubt the Swans are playing some very, very good footy, so it's going to be a great game. It'll be a fantastic game, and it's just who goes for the longest, I think, in the end, and hopefully we can find that consistency this week, because if you don't, they'll win the game.
John, you've got quite a tough run home. How are you going to approach it, knowing that you can't really afford to lose a game from now on, and yet the players have some pretty tough matches, I think Geelong, Adelaide, in Adelaide. How are you going to...
We've got one here on the weekend. That's how we approach it. I mean, that's as simple as that. As Leon said, you don't look too far ahead in this competition. It's really tough. You're living quarter to quarter at the moment, and that's all teams, not just us, but all teams, because you see the game, the momentum swings in games are so extreme at different times that you need to make sure that you absolutely live in the moment, and we're the same as every other team in that regard. We play here on the weekend against one of the best teams in the competition. So that's as far as we look, and we need to get our preparation right this week to make sure that we're competitive against this team, because they're such a good quality unit.
How do you think the players are coping? It's quite mentally draining knowing every week's a must win and then tough matches.
It's mentally challenging, this competition, no matter where you sit in the ladder. Whether it's up the top or down the bottom or in the middle, it's a challenging competition. That's what it is, and you need to be able to have the resilience to be able to push through that and keep striving. We know that we can't stray too much about from what we need to do week in, week out. The reality is, if you're up the top two, you're still striving to put your best, and it's mentally challenging as well. There's just no respite, and you need to be able to show your resilience for the whole year.
Josh, is there any sense of
No, not at all. And I think that's probably what we learnt from early on in the season. Certainly not looking too far ahead. We'll be focusing on this week, and as everyone's mentioned, there's a lot on the line each week, so we can't look far further than that.
On a lighter note, it's rural round in Fox footy. Phil, I might start with you. Is there a country boy you think is going to really rise to the occasion this week?
Yeah, we've got a few country blokes floating around, so I'll stick close to home. I think Jeremy Cameron, as country as they come, likes playing in derbies, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. Hopefully leaves the fishing rod and all that stuff at home and just brings his foot in, kicks a few goals.
Not too sure. We've got a few pseudo country guys that sort of claim it, but it's arguable whether they really are.
They're really towny.
Jared McVeigh's and Isaac Heaney's and stuff like that. So not too sure, but I think Isaac's in pretty good form. So hopefully he can step up.
The four of you have spent time at other clubs. In terms of this rivalry, can you just talk a bit about how big it's now become? Like, is this as heated, intense as any of the other rivalries?
Look, from our perspective, we can't talk obviously for Leon and Phil, but from our perspective, it certainly was always going to build over time, and there's nothing false about two quality teams competing against each other. It's just a reality of it, and I think that's been the good thing, is that it's built on two teams that now are in pretty good form. No question, last year when you finish a couple of teams inside the top four, it adds to that. It always develops. There's always layers added to it, and that's the real benefit of having teams that are pretty competitive, is that you get that building naturally.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think John summed it up. That it is real now. It's probably taken 5 years, and for us to become more competitive, and there has been layers added to it each year, I think, and probably the main one is that we've probably stepped up to the mark and started to play a more consistent brand, and so it'll be real on Saturday. I'm sure that when 22 run out against each other, there'll be not a lot of love between each other, and both sides are striving to get the 4 points that everyone wants every weekend, and I just think it's going to be a great atmosphere, and hopefully we get a sellout crowd, and which is looking towards that at the moment, with ticket sales pretty good. So it's going to be a great spectacle on Saturday night, and hopefully we can match it and play a good brand of footy.